Hi, welcome to Chad's Silversmithing. First, thanks for coming to my channel. I really appreciate it. If you wouldn't mind, hit the like button before you leave. That helps out a great deal. Feel free to leave comments, suggestions, constructive criticism. I appreciate all that kind of stuff. So today I'm going to do something sort of whimsical based on another piece of art. We found one time this little balloon dog made out of ceramic at a closeout store, and it's been in my little workshop shed for a long time, and I always thought it had kind of a pleasing shape, so I thought I'd try and make a piece of jewelry based off of it that resembles a balloon dog. So we'll see how that turns out. I wanted to thank my subscribers before we get started here. We just passed 5,000 subscribers. Thank you guys. I really appreciate your support, your financial contributions, as well as the kind comments. So thanks. I look forward to continued interactions with you. Thank you to my patrons over on Patreon. They are kind of paying my bills right now, so thanks for that. I appreciate your support and your also just the great interactions we have over there. I've been enjoying Discord and seeing what you guys can make and all the different cool tools and strategies you have. So thanks for that. I really appreciate that. If you're interested in Patreon, you might want to check out the video description down below. In addition to details about Patreon, there's also some links to my website, my merch store. If you just want to buy me a coffee, there's a link for that too. So thanks for that in advance. Let's get started on our project. Here's the actual sculpture that we have, and this is based off of an artist's work by a gentleman named Jeff Koons, and I think it was back in the 90s maybe. He made a series of these kind of balloon dog sculptures, and if I remember right, one of them sold for one of the most amounts ever, like in the 50 million or something, something like that. But I always thought it was kind of a cool, pleasing shape for a little sculpture like that. So we're going to try and make a pendant based on that, and I think I'll put a stone on it. I don't know which stone I'm going to do yet. Maybe a little faceted stone or something on the bail. So I sketched up in my little design book here. These are available on my merch store, by the way. They're really handy. Didn't used to draw things up like I do now, but it's really kind of helped me to improve my skills. There we go. This was my rough sketch, and I was trying to get proportions. These ones, the tail and the ears, are a little bit skinnier than the rest of these balloon things. So I was thinking about the ways that I could go about doing this, and one of them was just using some thick round wire. The thickest round wire I had was 10 gauge square, or 10 gauge round I should say. And when I filed it down into like tapered balloon shapes, it's pretty small. So I think I want to upsize that a little bit, and I don't have any thicker round wire, so I actually soldered together two pieces of half round at 8 gauge, and I think I'll use that for the legs and the body here and try and get a little bit bigger scale. And then solder some this piece of 8 gauge together, which is slightly thinner, to use for the tail. Since it's two pieces soldered together, I don't think I'm gonna like on this little original one, I just filed that down right out of the actual wire, but I think I'm just gonna solder on a piece of 14 gauge round and smooth it out. Same way here, and then I'll file it into kind of a balloon, what do you call that part of the balloon? The balloon nozzle? I don't know. But we'll carve that into that shape with the file, probably, or with the Dremel. So first I need to cut, this was about 10 millimeters, so, and these ones were about 11. I think I'm just going to cut them all. This one here is about 10 as well. So I'm going to cut those all at 11 millimeters, just so I have a little room to make a mistake if I need to. If I need to. Which I likely will do. Okay, so I'm just going to saw a few pieces of this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so be right back. Finally made myself a new bench pin. Been needing to do that for a long time. What did I say, 11? I think I said 11. So. See if I can cut straight or not today. Okay. Let's just repeat that process. Well, the first one right there. So I need 4 of them if I remember right. Set that up there for a minute. So I think I'm gonna have to hold these maybe in the miter vise in order to carve these down into kind of tapered shapes. So, because when you start to get these smaller pieces like that, it's hard to hold on to when you're filing. Let's see if I can actually grip it in here. Yeah, that should allow me to kind of taper it down so we get kind of these shapes like this. So I'll just take the bastard file and I'll do that to all of these. It's going to take a while, so I'm probably not going to make you watch me do the whole thing. But if you haven't gotten one of these miter vices, they're pretty handy for getting nice angles on things. I should set these off here so I don't knock them off the table. It's a good start. I can use once it's all soldered together, I can drumlet to smooth it out, I think, probably. So I'm going to do all those. And to kind of like rice grain shapes, kind of, almost. But before we do that, let's make a piece for the narrow part. So I'm going to cut this roughly in half. I'm going to take this, make sure it's as flat as I can get it. Not twisting or anything weird. So since I'm doing a pendant, I'm not going to do the back leg. I'm just going to do it from the front. Could do it 3-dimensionally, but it might not hang very well as a pendant then. Clean up the back side so it's nice and make sure it's nice and flat. use an older pad for this because I'm going to heat it up enough to where it might stick to the pad a little bit. Let's make sure we get these guys nice and flat. Need to make sure I have plenty of solder here. Ideally, I probably should have cast some little ingots and then shaped them out of those instead of this, because this is at best a less than ideal way to get your round wire. So, but I'll get that all smoothed out with the file. Then I'm going to cut a couple more like 8mm ones off of this for the ear and the tail. Be back after I file all of these down into tapers. Okay, so I got everything pretty much filed down. I realized I needed 5 of these, not 4. And then 2 of the smaller ones for the tail and the ears. So I did those. I think. Just need to pick one to be the body. I'm going to go with the chubbiest one that's filed down the least, I guess. And I think some of these little ones. I think we should start with maybe the legs. But in order for this to look like it's a bulgy balloon thing, they got to kind of overlap a little bit. So I'm going to have to use the Dremel with like a ball burr to kind of carve out a spot there. And then on the back side of this, so I can kind of lay them over the top of each other. I may want to round this out a little bit too more. I've never seen these before. This is a little diamond burr, and it should allow me to kind of remove material right off the edge of here so it's a little bit flatter there. And then I'll do the same thing on this side so I can overlap them a little bit. But it's going to be an awful lot of noisy grinding, so I'm not going to do it in front of the camera, but that's what I'm going to do is here and on the other side of this, and we'll solder those together. And then I'll do it on this side, and we'll do another leg, and then we'll start adding on different components as we go. So I'm going to go grind these real quick. Here's the body piece, and I kind of just, hopefully you can see right here, I've kind of ground down kind of a dip right there. It's actually kind of rounded inwards. And this one I try to just kind of create a trench that's sort of flattish there. So I'm going to try and get these guys to sit. Kind of like that. Okay, so far. Next, do the same thing kind of over up here. And then we'll start adding on the neck and the tail and the head. So I'll be right back. I got this one ready to go. Can't get him soldered on there. Okay, let's see. Maybe I'll do the tail next, or should I do maybe I'll do the neck next. I think the neck needs to be a little bit shorter, so I may cut one of these off with the saw just a little bit before I plop him on there. So I'm going to solder him on now. Next, I think I'll do the tail next. I think next I'm going to do the snout. I think I'm going to have to do some sawing off of pieces to make it a little shorter as well on this one. I decided to leave the snout longer until I have it soldered on, then I'll cut it off. It'll be easier to do that way. I can also smooth this out so I can get it ready for the ear that's going to go up top here. So let's solder this one. I'm going to make use of a kind of a depression in the pad here because this sits a little bit higher on top of the thing and I didn't want it to be just flush down there. So I set this down inside of the little cavity here, and then I put that on top of that, leaning over the edge of this little higher portion of the pad. So that made sense what I just said. Alright, let's find some solder. What do you think? Starting to look like a balloon dog a little bit? Okay, I need to put a little piece of wire on the end here. I need to probably shorten this and round it a little more and put the little balloon end on here, which I'll probably just use a piece of 14 gauge wire and then file it kind of to a taper there. But then I have to figure out where to put my bail on here. I kind of made my standard bail, but I modified it by putting a little bezel on top of it with picked out a little amethyst to go on here. But I got to figure out where I'm going to hook this, so maybe let it hang like that. So put a jump ring at the top of that. Should it hang from his nose? I think his ear probably. Or his tail. Probably his ear. Okay, so let me add those things. I'll put a jump ring on here and then we'll solder this on. Okay, I got two little pieces of 14 gauge round that I can do for the tail and for the nose. And then I got a little 18 gauge ring that I made out of just 18 gauge wire. And I'll solder that closed. And I'll probably just set that right on top of that like that. And we'll have it ready to go. So I'm going to sweat a little bit of solder onto all three of those and then we'll start assembling it. Almost forgot to do that. Oops, back here. You can't escape me. Ideally, I should be able to just pick solder that now, and then I can trim off the tail and the nose and shape them a little bit. Then we'll let it pickle for a while, and we'll clean it up and set the stone and show you the finished. Still got motion and everything. So I'm going to go ahead and pickle that, and we'll come back and finish it. Okay, so I got it all polished up, pretty much. Got a little bit of polishing compound on there still. I filed this down to the correct height. I expanded that hole a little so it sat down in there. And then I thought we could just go ahead and set this little amethyst here. At least we'll give it a shot. This last stage is called burnishing, and it's where you rub that top edge where it meets the stone. Smooth it out and lay it down as tight as possible. So that's basically the piece. I think it's kind of cute. So I will do a little finish polishing on that. I'll take some good pictures of it and put it at the end of the video. So hope you enjoyed that. Well, that was the balloon dog pendant. I hope you enjoyed that one. I have fun making stuff that's kind of whimsical like that. I hope you enjoyed it as well. If you did, would you mind hitting the like button before you leave? That helps out a great deal. I'd also love it if you'd leave a comment. And don't forget to hit the video description for the various relevant links like my Patreon or buying me a coffee or visiting my website where you can see the pretty jewelry. So thanks for visiting. Happy silversmithing. Take care.